In today's video, I'd like to take a look at a poll that just came out recently. This coming out January 9th, 2019. It's taking a look at the state of North Carolina, which is likely to be a battleground state in 2020. And they take Donald Trump and they match him up against 6 of his possible Democratic challengers. And the numbers are looking pretty good for the Democrats, at least at this point in time. But before I dive into those numbers and those head-to-head matchups, I'd like to just take a quick look at the history of the state of North Carolina and what the presidential election results have been in this state over the last few decades. So starting off, we can see that the Democrats are generally becoming much more competitive in this state. It really started in 2008 with Barack Obama. He was able to break through, win the state for the Democrats. He took down John McCain by about a half percentage point. In 2012, he receded some ground, losing to Mitt Romney by about 2 percentage points, and then Hillary Clinton, not nearly as favorable as Barack Obama or as strong of a Democratic candidate for president. She fell short, but it was still a competitive result against Donald Trump, losing by about 3.5 percentage points. But when we take a look further back in time, we can see just how Republican this state was before more recent results. You can see George H.W. Bush all the way back in 1992. It was still close against Bill Clinton, but that was a really strong year for the Democrats and Bill Clinton in that 92 election. Bill Clinton still lost, though, to George H.W. Bush, and then he also lost to Bob Dole by a bit more of a margin. But then we really see in the decades of the 2000s where George W. Bush, obviously the son of the former president, going on and absolutely dominating, beating Al Gore by 13 percentage points, as well as beating John Kerry by about 13 percentage points as well. But we can see things becoming much more competitive in the state over the past decade or so. And it's a situation for the Democrats where if they go on and win a state like North Carolina in 2020, it pretty much guarantees them winning the presidency, because there's a lot more Democratic-leaning states than North Carolina that you'd figure the Democrats would also be able to pick up those results and go on and win rather comfortably. Really, winning North Carolina would just be kind of like the cherry on top of the sundae in terms of running up that electoral college result. So taking a look here at this poll, it was taken with 750 registered voters, and you can see here Trump a little bit underwater with his approval rating. 46% approve, 50% who disapprove, and then going into those head-to-head matchups against possible Democratic presidential candidates for that 2020 ticket. Not a huge surprise here, at least for me, to see Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders polling above the rest of the field, on top of the fact that they have the better name recognition. I also think that these are the kind of candidates that can play well in a state like North Carolina. We see that Biden leads Trump by about 5 percentage points, 49 to 44. Sanders also doing pretty well here, slightly over Trump, 48 to 45. And then beyond that, it's a bit more competitive even than those two results here. We have Elizabeth Warren, who has name recognition in the 70s range, and she's tied with Trump at 46% apiece. And then a little less known candidates, but still ones that have a chance to go on and win that Democratic nomination in 2020. People like Kamala Harris, Beto O'Rourke, and Cory Booker all have name recognition in the 50s, so a bit lower than those other two candidates. Harris currently tied with Trump at 45 percentage points, and then Booker and O'Rourke are each behind Donald Trump by about 1 percentage point, where Trump leads 46 to 45. But I don't really see too much of a big surprise here with any of these head-to-head matchup scenarios. It pretty much falls in line to what we've been seeing in other polls amongst these Democratic hopefuls. Maybe one surprise you could say is Beto O'Rourke losing to Donald Trump, because in other polls that I've seen, he generally is a little bit ahead of candidates like Warren, Harris, and Booker. And maybe it's just this part of the country he doesn't have quite as much name recognition, obviously, as what he would have over in the Southwest, for instance, being the congressman from Texas, El Paso. But beyond the presidential race here, I also want to touch on a couple more things from this poll. Roy Cooper, the current Democratic governor, he's above water with his approval rating by about +9, 44% to 35% who disapprove, that 44% being those that approve. And they also do matchups here with Cooper and 5 potential Republican opponents. And in each of these matchups, Cooper, he has that name recognition now. He has the incumbency advantage, and he's ahead by between 4 to 14 percentage points amongst these 5 potential challengers. And then moving beyond that, another thing I wanted to touch on, one of the hottest issues in North Carolina is that contested election in the 9th Congressional District, only 28% of voters think that Mark Harris should be declared the winner, while 48% think that there should be another election, given the fraud around the election results. A Republican being the one who went on and won the 9th Congressional District, but it was extremely close. And with the situation that's going on there, it does look like the voters in the state of North Carolina are pretty fed up with it, and they would like to see another election scenario that's a bit cleaner. And again, guys, like I said, 750 registered voters very recently between the 4th and the 7th of January 2019. And again, I think that these numbers are looking pretty good for the Democrats at this point in time. All of their potential candidates doing pretty competitively here against Donald Trump. And again, if the Democrats go on and win a state like North Carolina, it pretty much seals up their opportunity to go on and win the presidency, because there are those other states that are a bit more Democratic leaning that you would also figure the Democrats would win on top of that. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thanks for stopping on in. Consider subscribing for more, and I hope to see you back here for my next video.